I had my high school life, I had my friends, and I had all these, I had a normal life.
At 66, Donny Osmond finally admits why we never see his wife. Donny Osmond, born December 9th, 1957 in Ogden, Utah, is an American singer, dancer, actor, and television host. Rising to fame in the 1970s with the Osmonds, he became a teen idol with hits like Puppy Love. Later, he reinvented himself as a solo artist, Broadway performer, and television personality, known for his clean-cut image. Donny co-hosted Donny and Marie with his sister, achieving international recognition over decades. He has remained a versatile entertainer, balancing music, stage, and family life, earning enduring respect in the entertainment industry. At the age of 66, he shared for the first time why his wife, Debbie Osmond, rarely appeared in public. Donny Osmond, from boyhood to fame. Donny Osmond was born on December 9th, 1957 in Ogden, Utah, into a large and deeply religious family. He was the seventh of 9 children born to Olive and George Osmond, a couple devoted not only to their family, but also to their faith in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, LDS, commonly known as Mormon. The Osmond household was filled with music, faith, and discipline, where every child was encouraged to explore their talents while staying grounded in family values. Growing up surrounded by older brothers who were already dabbling in music, Donny's earliest memories were steeped in rehearsals, harmonies, and the energy of a family on the verge of becoming a household name. In the early 1960s, Donny's older brothers, Alan, Wayne, Merrill, and Jay, began performing as the Osmond Brothers. They quickly gained attention for their wholesome image and impeccable harmonies. Their style was deeply rooted in the clean-cut American family ideal, something that resonated strongly in an era craving uplifting entertainment. It was in this environment that Donny's own journey began. From the time he was a toddler, he showed a natural inclination toward music and performance. By the age of 5, Donny had officially joined his brothers, and it didn't take long for him to stand out. With his bright smile, soulful eyes, and surprisingly strong voice for his age, he immediately captured audiences' hearts. The true turning point in Donny's early career came in 1963 when the Osmond brothers secured a recurring spot on The Andy Williams Show. This national television exposure introduced the family to millions of Americans, and young Donny quickly became the breakout star. His performance of You Are My Sunshine melted hearts across the country. With his sweet voice and innocent charm, he embodied everything audiences loved about the idea of a family band: purity, sincerity, and joy. For Donny, this moment was more than just a performance. It was his introduction to the world as America's newest child star. The Osmonds became regular guests on The Andy Williams Show, and Donny, though the youngest on stage, held his own with remarkable poise. He was trained to connect with the audience, not only through singing, but also through charisma and humor. Andy Williams himself became something of a mentor, offering the young Osmond valuable lessons about stage presence and professionalism. The show provided a rigorous but invaluable education in the entertainment industry, a combination of discipline and artistry that would shape Donny for decades to come. Donny's influences during these formative years went beyond Andy Williams. He and his brothers admired Elvis Presley, whose blend of charisma and vocal power was unmatched. Donny would later reflect on how Elvis's style inspired him to bring passion into his performances. From Jerry Lewis, he absorbed the importance of comedy and improvisation, learning how to interact with audiences in ways that made them feel included in the experience. Bob Hope's variety shows also left a mark, demonstrating the value of versatility, being able to sing, dance, and entertain across genres, All of these influences blended into Donny's own approach, giving him a toolkit that would serve him as both a solo performer and part of an ensemble. Life for Donny in these early years was a blend of normal childhood and extraordinary responsibility. While other children his age were attending school plays or playing sports, Donny was rehearsing, recording, and appearing on national television. His parents worked hard to maintain balance, ensuring that despite the growing fame, he and his siblings stayed connected to their roots. The LDS faith played a vital role, grounding the family in values of humility, service, and family unity. By the mid-1960s, the Osmonds had become a sensation, with Donny's presence helping propel the group into a new level of stardom. He wasn't just a supporting act. He became the face of the group for many fans, the little boy whose smile and voice symbolized the purity of the Osmond brand. While the road ahead would bring challenges, rivalries, and the pressures of fame, these childhood years laid the foundation for Donny's resilience and adaptability in a career that would span decades. For Donny Osmond, childhood wasn't just about growing up. It was about stepping into the spotlight almost as soon as he could walk, learning the craft of entertainment from some of the greatest performers of his time, and carrying the responsibility of a family dream on his young shoulders. What began with a simple song on The Andy Williams Show blossomed into one of the most enduring careers in music and entertainment history. Donny Osmond, from teen idol to icon. By the mid-1970s, Donny Osmond had already established himself as one of America's most recognizable young performers, but it was the creation of the Donny and Marie Show that solidified his place in television history. Airing from 1976 to 1979, the variety show paired Donny with his younger sister, Marie Osmond, creating one of the most dynamic duos of the decade with their wholesome charm, quick wit, and undeniable chemistry. Donny and Marie became household names. They sang duets, performed comedy sketches, danced, and welcomed some of the biggest celebrities of the era as guests. At the ages of 8 and 16, respectively, Donny and Marie became the youngest hosts of a primetime variety program in American television history. The show wasn't just successful, it was a cultural phenomenon, bringing family entertainment back to the forefront at a time when audiences craved lighthearted, joyful programming. The Osmond siblings' rapport was effortless, their sibling banter endearing, and their versatility unmatched. Donny's clean-cut image and Marie's sweetness captured the hearts of families across the country. Together, they delivered a brand of entertainment that appealed to multiple generations, bridging gaps between parents and children who could sit together to enjoy the show. Yet, while the program's success brought Donny enormous fame, it also came with the heavy responsibility of maintaining his all-American boy persona. Behind the smiling face was a young man navigating the pressures of fame, expectations, and a rapidly changing entertainment industry. As the 1970s progressed, Donny Osmond's popularity soared beyond television. He was firmly cemented as a teen idol, his face appearing on the covers of fan magazines like Tiger Beat and 16 Magazine. Young fans plastered his posters on their bedroom walls, while record sales continued to climb. Songs like Puppy Love and Go Away. Little Girl had already made him a solo sensation, but the constant publicity reinforced his status as one of the most adored figures of the decade. However, with adoration came typecasting. Donny was seen less as a versatile artist and more as the embodiment of youthful innocence, something that would later become a hurdle in his career. Despite these challenges, Donny continued to work tirelessly. In addition to his solo work, he remained active with the Osmonds, the family group that had first introduced him to the world, Balancing group responsibilities with his solo ambitions required immense discipline, but Donny's work ethic never faltered. He was determined to prove that he was more than just a pretty face or a teen heartthrob. He wanted to be recognized as a serious entertainer with depth and range. The 1980s brought significant changes, both personally and professionally. As the teen idol craze began to wane, Donny faced the daunting task of reinventing himself. It wasn't easy to transition from a wholesome child star into an adult performer taken seriously by critics and audiences alike. The Osmond family, as a whole, shifted toward country music during this decade, testing new sounds and reaching out to different audiences. Donny, however, embarked on a more daring journey. Determined to shed his squeaky clean image, he embraced edgier material. His music videos for songs like Ambitious, 1985, and Runaway, 1986, showcased a different Donny, confident, experimental, and eager to break free from the teen idol label that had defined his youth. The videos featured bold visuals and a more contemporary sound, aligning him with the MTV generation. Though this reinvention didn't immediately catapult him back to superstardom, it marked an important step in his evolution as an artist. He was no longer content to be pigeonholed. Instead, he sought to carve out a career that reflected maturity, creativity, and resilience. This period also highlighted Donny's perseverance. Many performers who rise to fame as children or teenagers struggle to adapt once the spotlight dims. But Donny refused to fade into obscurity. He experimented with new genres, collaborated with diverse artists, and worked behind the scenes to refine his craft. These efforts laid the groundwork for future comebacks and reaffirmed his determination to remain a relevant figure in the entertainment industry. While the 1970s had cemented Donny Osmond as America's teen idol and television sweetheart, the 1980s tested his ability to adapt and endure. With the decline of the Donny and Marie show and the fading teen idol craze, he faced an uncertain future. Yet, through reinvention and sheer willpower, Donny found ways to keep his career alive, proving that he was more than just a fleeting pop culture phenomenon. He was an entertainer in the truest sense, versatile, hardworking, and unafraid of transformation. Donny Osmond's lifelong love and legacy, behind the bright lights, stage performances, and decades of fame. Donny Osmond's most enduring story is not just about music, television, or reinvention. It is about love and family. His journey with Debbie, the woman who became his lifelong partner, is as remarkable as his career. Theirs is a story of patience, resilience, and devotion that began when they were young and has endured for nearly half a century, producing a legacy of children, grandchildren, and an unshakable family bond that Donny treasures above all else. Donny first met Debbie Glenn as a teenager. At that time, Debbie was dating his older brother Jay, a detail that made Donny's feelings all the more complicated. Still, he could not deny the connection he felt with her. She was intelligent, kind, and had a quiet strength that drew him in. Unlike the adoring fans who screamed his name and covered their bedroom walls with posters, Debbie was grounded. She didn't care about Donny's fame or his image as America's teen idol. She cared about the person behind it. That sincerity set her apart from everyone else. For Donny, winning her heart was not easy. It took him 3 years of effort, persistence, and patience before Debbie finally gave him a chance. During that time, Donny was balancing the pressures of stardom with his personal longing to have someone who truly understood him. Fame, after all, can be isolating, and Donny longed for a relationship that was authentic and not based on his celebrity status. When Debbie eventually agreed to be with him, it was the beginning of a love that would transform his life. In May 1978, Donny Osmond and Debbie Glenn were married. At the time, Donny was just 20 years old and still very much in the spotlight as a pop sensation. Many doubted the marriage would last, given his youth and the intense pressures of fame. Yet Donny and Debbie proved everyone wrong. Their union became one of the rare Hollywood love stories that not only survived, but flourished across decades. For Donny, marriage was not just a commitment. It was the anchor that kept him grounded amidst the chaos of an entertainment career. Debbie became his partner in every sense of the word, supporting him through the highs of his career, the lows of reinvention, and the personal struggles he faced in finding his identity beyond the stage. Together, Donny and Debbie built a family that became the true center of their lives. They were blessed with 5 sons: Donny Jr., Jeremy, Brandon, Christopher, Chris, and Joshua, Josh. Raising 5 boys was no small feat, especially while Donny was juggling concerts, television shows, and recording sessions. Yet, the Osmond household was known not for its chaos, but for its warmth. Donny and Debbie worked hard to create an environment where love, respect, and family values came first. The boys grew up not in the shadow of their father's fame, but in a home where they were encouraged to be themselves, pursue their passions, and rely on each other. Over the years, the Osmond family expanded even further as Donny and Debbie's sons married and started families of their own. Today, Donny is not only a father, but also a grandfather to 14 grandchildren. The pride he feels for his growing family often eclipses even the joy of his professional achievements. He has frequently expressed that his greatest role is not that of an entertainer, but that of a husband, father, and grandfather. For him, the applause of audiences may fade, but the love of his family is everlasting. What makes Donny and Debbie's story even more powerful is the way they weathered challenges together. Fame is often the enemy of intimacy, as constant travel, public scrutiny, and career demands can put immense strain on a relationship. But Donny and Debbie leaned on each other during the toughest times. Debbie's unwavering support allowed Donny to reinvent himself when the teen idol label threatened to limit his future. Her stability gave him courage during the career slumps, and her love reminded him of his worth when criticism loomed. In interviews, Donny has often described Debbie as his rock, the one person who always believed in him regardless of public opinion. He credits her with much of his personal happiness and stability. While fans around the world adored Donny Osmond, the performer, Debbie cherished Donny the man, and that distinction made all the difference. Their relationship also highlights a deeper truth about Donny's legacy, that family has always been his true north. Even at the height of his fame, he worked to balance his public career with private family life. He would make time to be present for his children, ensuring that despite his demanding schedule, his sons knew they were his priority. Now, as a grandfather, he continues that tradition, cherishing moments with his grandchildren and embracing the joys of family gatherings. The Osmond home became a place of laughter, music, and togetherness. Donny often shared that some of his happiest memories were not on stage or in the studio, but around the dinner table with his wife, children, and grandchildren. Those simple, intimate moments, birthdays, holidays, or just ordinary evenings, are what he values most. Debbie, for her part, has never sought the spotlight. Unlike Donny, she preferred a life away from cameras and interviews, focusing instead on raising their children and supporting her husband behind the scenes. Her quiet strength and humility allowed Donny to shine, while she remained the steady presence holding the family together. In many ways, Debbie's role was just as vital as Donny's in shaping the family's legacy. Together, Donny and Debbie have built something rare in the entertainment industry, a marriage that endures, a family that thrives, and a legacy that transcends fame. Their story demonstrates that love, patience, and shared values can withstand even the most intense pressures. For Donny Osmond, the boy who grew up on stage, it is perhaps his greatest accomplishment. Not the gold records or the television shows, but the life he created with Debbie and the generations of family that followed. As Donny reflects on his life, he often emphasizes that being a husband, father, and grandfather is what he is most proud of. The applause of audiences has been sweet, the awards meaningful, and the career milestones remarkable. Yet nothing compares to the joy of holding his children, guiding his sons, and watching his grandchildren grow. In his eyes, fame is fleeting, but family is forever. Donny Osmond's private love life. For an entertainer whose career has stretched across more than 5 decades, Donny Osmond has remarkably managed to keep the most precious part of his life away from the public eye, his marriage to Debbie Osmond. In a world where celebrity couples often make headlines for scandals, breakups, and drama, Donny and Debbie have chosen a different path. Their story is not one of flashy red carpet appearances or reality television exposure, but of mutual respect, shared values, and the decision to preserve their love by shielding it from the glare of the spotlight. From the very beginning of their marriage in 1978, Donny and Debbie made a pact. Their family life would not be entertainment for the public. Donny, who had grown up in one of the most famous musical families of the 1980s, knew better than most how destructive fame could be when it intruded too far into personal space. Debbie, who never sought fame and preferred a quiet, steady life, became the guardian of that privacy. She intentionally avoided the cameras, interviews, and tabloids, building instead a home that valued love, stability, and normalcy. This decision, though simple, became one of the most vital pillars of their enduring marriage. Privacy, however, was only one element. Donny has often admitted that during his early years as a global teen idol, temptation was everywhere. The 1970s and 1980s were a whirlwind of fame, with screaming fans, endless tours, and opportunities to indulge in the darker sides of celebrity culture. But Donny, guided by the moral and spiritual values instilled by his parents and strengthened by Debbie's grounding influence, resisted. He confessed in later interviews that he understood the risks of giving in, not just to his reputation, but to the trust of the woman who stood by him. For Donny, loyalty was not negotiable. His faith and his love for Debbie provided the compass he needed to stay true, even in moments when it would have been easy to lose his way. In 2017, Donny gave an interview that pulled back the curtain just enough to reveal the secret to his marriage's longevity. "The key is respect," he said simply. Respect for each other's individuality, for each other's space, and for the roles they each played in the relationship. For Debbie, it meant supporting Donny's career without resenting the time and energy it demanded. For Donny, it meant valuing Debbie not as someone in the background, but as the essential center of his world. He often calls her the one who keeps me grounded, a phrase that speaks volumes about the balance they have achieved. That balance was tested many times. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, Donny's career went through severe turbulence. After the teen idol craze faded, he struggled to redefine himself. His albums didn't sell as expected, and at one point, the family suffered devastating financial losses that left them nearly bankrupt. It was in this period of crisis that Debbie's role as Donny's anchor became most visible. She encouraged him not to give up, reminded him of his worth beyond money or fame, and helped rebuild their lives from the ground up. In Donny's words, she never wavered. She was my constant when everything else was collapsing. Debbie's quiet strength was not only a comfort, but a source of resilience that allowed Donny to reinvent himself again and again. When he stepped into musical theater, playing Joseph and Joseph and the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, Debbie was there in the audience, cheering him on. When he struggled with the criticism that came with reinventing his public image, Debbie was the voice reminding him that his identity was not determined by headlines or critics, but by the family they had built together. For Debbie, the spotlight was never appealing. She valued the simple joys of family, raising their 5 sons, creating a warm home, and eventually embracing the role of grandmother to their 14 grandchildren. Donny has often said that Debbie's refusal to be dazzled by Hollywood glamour kept him from drifting too far into the illusions of fame. While the entertainment world praised him for his voice, his smile, and his charm, Debbie loved him simply as Donny. The man, not Donny, the star. That distinction was vital, for it gave him a safe place to return to after every performance. Their marriage, in many ways, has become a study in how love adapts over time. They started young, faced skepticism about whether it would last, endured career ups and downs, financial strain, and the challenges of raising 5 children. Yet through it all, they nurtured a bond that matured from youthful passion into deep companionship. Donny himself has said that the love he shares with Debbie today is stronger than ever, precisely because it has been tested and proven through adversity. In an industry where marriages often crumble under pressure, Donny and Debbie Osmond stand out as an example of endurance. The secret, Donny insists, is not perfection, but commitment. It's not about never having problems, he once reflected. It's about deciding that no problem is bigger than the love you've built together. Today, Donny continues to perform, record, and occasionally appear on television. But his home remains his sanctuary. He and Debbie still live by the principle they established decades ago. Their private life is theirs alone. For Donny, the cheers of the audience are fleeting, but the quiet evenings with Debbie, their children, and grandchildren are eternal. His greatest pride is not in his gold records or accolades, but in the family he has nurtured alongside the woman who chose to walk with him when the world seemed to belong to everyone else. Donny Osmond's marriage to Debbie is a reminder that fame, while powerful, is never as important as love. Their decision to guard their family from the glare of celebrity culture, their mutual respect and loyalty, and Debbie's role as the anchor in Donny's life explain not only why their union has lasted, but why it has flourished. In his eyes, Debbie is more than his wife. She is his safe harbor, his greatest blessing, and the quiet strength behind every song, every performance, and every success. Donny Osmond, Hardship and Resurrection. By the time Donny Osmond reached the age of 19, the glow of his teen idol years had already begun to fade. Once celebrated as one of America's brightest young stars, he suddenly found himself dismissed as a washed-up celebrity, a phrase that struck hard at his confidence. The Osmond family, once prosperous, also suffered devastating financial losses after a series of failed investments, leaving Donny not only without the security of fame, but also without the stability of wealth. This dual blow sent him spiraling into a period of depression and self-doubt. In the midst of this crisis, help came from an unexpected source, Michael Jackson, already an established star. Jackson offered Donny both friendship and advice. He encouraged him to modernize his sound, rethink his image, and not allow the harsh judgments of critics to define him. Jackson's words lit a small flame of hope, reminding Donny that reinvention was possible, even after being written off. Yet the most profound support came from his wife, Debbie. Through every financial disaster and public rejection, she stood firmly by his side. Debbie reminded Donny of his worth as a man, not just as an entertainer. Her patience and unwavering belief in him provided the foundation he needed to rebuild both his career and his sense of self. Together, they endured the storms, and slowly, Donny began to find his way back to the stage with renewed purpose. This chapter of hardship ultimately became a story of resurrection. Donny Osmond learned that fame could be fleeting, but love, loyalty, and resilience could rebuild even the most shattered life. Donny and Debbie, love beyond fame. As Donny Osmond's life and career prove, true success is not measured solely by fame, awards, or longevity on stage, but by the foundation that keeps it all standing. For Donny, that foundation has always been family, with Debbie at its heart. Her choice to remain away from the public eye was never about indifference, but about protecting their privacy, preserving their happiness, and ensuring a sanctuary where love was stronger than spotlight. While Donny has dazzled millions for decades, he never stops reminding the world that his greatest achievement is not the applause of strangers, but the unwavering partnership he shares with his wife. Their story shines as one of the rare examples of lasting devotion in a world often dominated by fleeting temptations. If Donny and Debbie's rare love story inspired you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more timeless journeys.